Before he even opens his eyes, he cancels Donald Trump in his dreams. By the time his alarm goes off, he's thinking of all the places he'll go today to hunt down conservatives. He rolls out of bed furious because somebody online said men can't get pregnant, and straps on a mask. He keeps it on all day, even somehow while eating. Then he checks his phone, and guess what? Today is January 6th, 2021. Again. He goes to the kitchen, and instead of having coffee, today he has a cup of gender fluid. As he sips, he listens to an inspirational speech from Kamala, who encourages him that now is the time to be doing what we have been doing, and that time is every day. And he does plan to do exactly that. After this, he walks his dog, and he does a TikTok of his vegan dog wearing a pride bandana while explaining its complicated gender situation and how they are trying to figure it out.
He was going to add one more color to his hair, but decided that would look stupid.
After doing a rant about how evil all meat eaters are, he proceeds to take out the most ultra-processed, completely artificial, defrosted soy-stuffed chemical patty and eat it while calling Dr. Shaboinki to schedule a doctor's appointment for malnutrition. It's still not clear if he has a medical degree or is just a doctor in gender studies. But even through all his health struggle, he comforts himself that he's not like those monsters that kill innocent chickens, and at that point, he remembers that it's time for his daily abortion, somehow, just in case. And so, he puts on an outdoor mask over his indoor mask and bravely enters the dystopian world that was supposed to end 5 years ago because of climate change. Then he jumps into his electric car, proudly convinced it's saving the planet, never minding that building the batteries pumped out more toxins than a gas car will in its lifetime. And he heads out for his first abortion of the day. On the way, he passes by a gun store and scoffs, because he wants all guns banned, because if the government forces everyone to turn in their guns, the bad guys will turn them in too, and it will become so safe. And the only one with guns will be the government, which they'll only use them for pure and righteous reason, so we're safe. He would go to work, but there is too much work to be done out on the street with a bright rainbow poster. Besides, he lives in California, so he doesn't need to work. He finally arrives to the center of LA and starts filming TikToks and leading chants against billionaires while tweeting it all from his $1,200 iPhone. She does not understand why the government won't take away all the billionaires' money and distribute it among the people. She firmly believes they do not deserve the money that they have. Their protest reaches a group of street chess players, and they start chanting, "Boycott chess," because the white pieces move first, and they called for all pieces to be the same color. After the protest, he orders a $25 organic vegan salad delivered in 6 layers of plastic wrap by a diesel truck and has his well-deserved lunch. As he is walking home, he sees a sign on the sidewalk, "Manhole open," and immediately attacks the construction workers there. He says the sign is very uninclusive and should also be a woman hole. As he speaks, he steps back and falls in, yelling something about his degree in gender studies. At home, before moving on, he records a TikTok about being off social media for mental health. After he finishes uploading, he closes his laptop.
Of course they would do that. Verifying I'm a human. Okay. This platform does that more frequently than any other social media platform I've been on. There we go, much better. I don't need to hear myself. So, yeah. What I was going to say, I was going to pause it and say, this is proof that our education system has failed us.
Degree in gender studies. At home, before moving on, he records a TikTok about being off social media for mental health. After he finishes uploading, he closes his laptop, knowing he did absolutely nothing all morning, and calls it activism. In the afternoon, he takes his kids to a teach-in about why school shouldn't have grades, tests, doors, homework, curriculum, or any kind of structure or discipline. Right after that, he finds out 4 of his family members voted for Trump, so he expressed his tolerance and open-mindedness by blocking them on his phone. They're lucky they didn't get canceled. Then at 3 p.m., during yoga, he keeps his mask on and whispers his pronouns to the ceiling fan, calling it meditation and blaming his instructor for cultural appropriation because he's not from India, but neither is he. But he won't talk about that. In the afternoon, he takes a break from activism by turning on his ring light and recording a tearful monetized apology video for calling his dog Good Boy after it transitioned to a queer gender-fluid socialist squirrel. Right after, to take a break from his stressful, productively overworked day, he watches the latest episode of Jimmy Kimmel. He is so funny. Then, in the evening, he goes to get his vaccine booster because he thinks that will finally solve all his health problems forever. Even though it's 2025, and none of the 23 boosters he's taken helped yet. But he trusts the process. He spends the rest of his night complaining about how hard his life is and asking for even more handouts online. Finally, he goes to bed under his rainbow-weighted blanket, comforted by the thought that tomorrow he can get offended all over again.
So, yeah. Basically, well, if God was able to move Trump's bullet an eighth of an inch in order to spare his life, why did he not do that for Charlie? And we know he did not do that for Charlie because Charlie is not here, allegedly. There's a lot of rabbit holes we don't have to go down them, but let's at least peer into them, shall we? Let's just be curious. We don't have to criticize and lose our passports, but we should be able to be curious and ask questions. So, Charlie Day. There's 2 types of Charlies in the world. There's Charlie Day and Charlie Kirk. Man, this ain't the best at making the memes. This first one looked best. Let's see, make it bigger. But then I gave it, some more prompting. Basically saying there are only 2 types of Charlies in the world. The Charlie Day that finds Jesus analytically connecting the dots as if God himself has painted your intellectual mind into a corner of ignorance. It's spelled, yeah. And the other Charlie is the Charlie Kirk straightforward approach of finding Jesus through faith. Which Charlie are you? And this is the easy approach. Just it's like, don't pray for patience, just have it. Because if you pray for it, then you have to sit in Friday traffic and wait at the DMV longer than most people. Like, all these things that you don't want to do, you'll end up doing just because you prayed for faith. And the way to get faith is go through the exercises of increasing your faith through situations that force you to be patient. And so never pray for it, just have it. And then you'll notice, like, green lights all the time, not red lights. I mean, it still happens because, God is blessing those he blesses, and he's disrupting the days of others that he wants to disrupt. And I love that my God has a sense of humor. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this wonderful day that you provided in advance for this moment, and that may you convey through me that which you've impressed upon me. May you express through me that which you've impressed upon me to say at the end of this 7-day mourning period for St. Charlie Kirk. Or is he in witness protection, just like Elvis Presley and JFK Jr.? Possibly. Again, these are rabbit holes we don't have to go down, but we should not stick our ostrich heads in the sand, which they do not do. It's every time I say that metaphor now, I have to always include that the ostriches don't put their heads in the sand, but we always associate that with them, and maybe it's a comic strip that started it. We'd have to use AI to figure that out. But I thought of Charlie Day because I binge watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, if not last year, then the year before, but I think it was 24, could have been 23, but anyways, I binge watched all of it. And then at the time that I was wrapping up the final series, they started a podcast like 10 episodes before that, so it was kind of cool to transition from the series straight into their podcast of them reflecting on the different episodes and whatnot. So I bought this off eBay, and trust me when I say it fit perfectly at the end of my 40-day fast, and I hope to get there again. And I swear I'm still just beef, butter, bacon, eggs. I mean, last year I had no potatoes. This year I have potatoes because it's a butter delivery method. But I don't have it very often, and I didn't have it, but like, I wasn't a potato guy. Like, I'd have the occasional French fries and ketchup maybe once or twice a month, but it wasn't my go-to. This year, I haven't been scared of potatoes. And ironically, I'm using this app called Voice Meter Potato it's the past couple months, which allows me to adjust inputs and outputs virtually and physically of hardware, audio and speakers and whatnot. And it's really hard to figure out, I mean, the ins and outs and what channels get what volume. And I mean, I'm learning it. And it's just weird that I started eating potatoes, and now God has me using Voice Meter Potato. And yes, there is Voice Meter Banana. And I like bananas in dehydrated form. Mainly because you look fruity when you eat it like an ape. And I've eaten it that way too. But, you know, it's like, I won't eat it with a spoon like that one dude in the meme. That was weird. I think he was in a car driving, eating banana out of the peel of the banana with a spoon, and like it was yogurt or something. And it's like, bro, just why you're complicating it, like. Anyways, so yeah, the Charlie Day meme, I have to go in here and Photoshop it and swap it with the previous versions, or just grab stock footage. And I'll probably even redo this too, but this is just a good template for me to work with, I guess. And it's too wordy, so I'll simplify it and keep it simple. But there's two. If we're all Charlie now, then there's two types of Charlie, which is weird, because that's what they said when they wore this uniform in Vietnam. Charlie. They were always looking for Charlie. And in 2017, there was a video game. There is a PC video game that's on Steam called Charlie Murder. PC, Steam, Charlie Murder 20. So I know I spelled it wrong. Boom. Come on, open up. Okay, here we go. Charlie Murder. The game may contain content not appropriate for all ages, or may not be appropriate for viewing at work. Gore, violent, blah, 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 blah. Enter your birthday. So, I'll just go back far enough. I'm not going to put it in. Oh, yeah, 1776, 1976. That should work. View page. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting. Read the description. Not that one. The one I read on my screenshot that I took on my phone said, it was a review basically. It said, reviews for Charlie Murder are this is overwhelmingly positive. This one's said generally positive. At only $10, Charlie Murder is both a killer game and a solid value for solo artists. For anyone with a few friends willing to join the slaughter, it's damn near mandatory. 90 official Xbox magazine. I guess that's the rating. 90 out of 100. There are elements to Charlie Murder that are certainly less unique than others, but as a whole, this is one of the better RPG brawler hybrids that I've ever played. The dark and humorously grim atmosphere helped Charlie Murder a unique brawler that knows how to throw a punch and stands out from others in the genre. Game trailers. About this game, it's a punk rock apocalypse. Team up with Apocalypse means revelation of information. Team up with your friends to lead embattled punk rock band Charlie Murder in their epic quest to save the world from rival death metalers Gore Quafer and their legions of evil. RPG it up as you hoard insane loot to buff your character and look excellent Earn fans to unlock powerful finishers and team-up moves. Get tattoos to channel your anarchy. Anarchy? Why didn't they spell it key then? Whatever. And uncover mysterious relics of modern myth. Originally released in 2013 on Xbox 360. Holy crap, it's even farther than that. Because I was thinking, Charlie Kirk's first appearance was on Fox News 2012. What if the Juicy Juice propped Charlie Kirk up over the past 13 years in order to take him down? Long game. You have to think long game with these people. We think paycheck to paycheck, season to season, year to year. These people are thinking generation to generation. As if before they even broke ground for the Twin Towers, they already had the plan to bring them down decades into the future. Right? At least the blueprints, like, this is the overall objective, and how they got there. They'd have to fill in the gaps as people came and went in these intelligence agencies. But so in that regard, it's a movie or it's scripted. I mean, people still live and die. But as the playwright William Shakespeare said, the world is a stage and every actor has his stage left and stage right. Like, they have their 15 minutes. They have their, they're off. It's a stage. We need to start thinking more literally, because he created this Truman Show experience. It's giant Costco building. Just think of it like that. I know it's hard to fathom. Doesn't matter. That's the reality. The world is a stage. And anytime you have deja vu, that's you remembering you acting out the scene before you got here. So when you're like, I felt like I've done this before, you literally did when you read for the part that you're playing right now. And this is just it's an analogy, but yet there's truth behind it, because that's you're experiencing a duplication in a moment, not because of similarity with your brain storing information. No, it's because you've experienced it. And I say it like that because if you watch that, I think it's 6+ hour Sean Ryan video with the first Agent 001 of the CIA who was able to do remote viewing, it's because he had a near-death experience. He saw his body outside the bodies. They threw it in a taxi. So we could think the same almost for Charlie Kirk if he was in fact shot and it wasn't a fake blood patch Hollywood grade to fake his death, because there was an incoming hit. They were trying to hit him with FX and fake his death in order. I'm just saying this is a possibility. This isn't the reality. It could be. I don't know. I prayed for discernment, and the discernment I'm getting is not with the narrative. Everything's pointing. Why was there a book on Amazon the day before? All these little, and New York Times, and all these little intricacies of the story that aren't adding up to the narrative, like the CCTV footage not matching so and so James Robinson. I have a blank on his first name, but he has the same middle name as Charlie Kirk, Charlie James Kirk, not Timothy James, Tyler James, Charlie James. They both have the same middle name. And speaking of having the same, Charlie James Kirk has the same birthday as George Floyd. 10/14/73 and 10/14/93 respectively for George Floyd, who was 20 years older. So yeah, there is a video game for it, and yeah, so I'm working on that meme. That's coming up. I did want to show you this part. I wrote this comment. Watch Tucker Carlson's dog's reaction to Tucker getting uncomfortable to his guest saying the number 33 after all of this week's talk about the feds catching the patsy within 33 hours, and Charlie Kirk dying 33 days before his birthday, which is the same day as George Floyd's birthday, 10/14/93, 10/14/1973. Freemasonic code, political theater, read between the lines, Christ is king. So watch this. It happens at like 30 seconds after this, but it's good for context.
The secular nonsense that's going on in America, pagan, that's an insult to the pagans. The pagans believed in the divine order. They believed in the gods. Okay, we don't believe that there are gods. There is one God. But the pagans at least knew they were accountable to the divine order. They were accountable to the gods. To call America, which has no reference, most of our leaders make no reference to God at all. They act as though they are not accountable to God's law. And I think that's far, far worse than paganism and a full-blown insult to pagans to call it pagan. No, unless we have a leader who's accountable to God's law. And I think that's far, far worse than paganism and a full-blown insult to pagans to they were accountable to the gods, has far, far going to address refreshing will come from God. We can be changed, unfresh, and we need to recover our faith. If we do that, refreshing will come from God. We can be changed. A new day can arise, but it's not going to be with a little fix. It's not going to be with a little something here or a little something there. I've never seen, I've been a priest for almost 33 years. I've never seen the radical interest in faith that we're seeing right now. I'll tell you, if I use my parish just as a little example, I have maybe, I don't know, little more than 1,000 active parishioners that are here regularly. And over the years of my ministry, I've catechized, I've instructed and prepared people for baptism, maybe 20, 30, 40, a really great year would be 40 people. I have over 200 people in catechism right now. They act as though they are not accountable to God's law. And
did I miss the dog?
Far, far worse than paganism and a full-blown insult to pagans to call it.
Because my laptop's kind of covering part of the screen where the dog pops in right here.
It needs to be addressed, right?
I thought that was just strange.
To repent. And we need to recover our faith. If we do that, times of refreshing will come from God. We can be changed.
Does he say, come on.
But it's not going to be with a little fix. It's not going to be with a little something here.
A little something there.
I've never seen, I've been a priest for
right
almost
here.
33 years.
See him set back?
I've never seen.
See him set back?
Maybe with a little something here or a little something there. I've never seen, I've been a priest for almost 33 years.
See, he blinks and sets back, right? He knows what that means. It almost puts him into a trance to receive a message. And the dog senses it, and he pushes his dog back. I don't know, I just thought that was strange. The dog knew. The dog sensed it.
Example. I have maybe, I don't know, little more than 1,000 active parishioners that are here regularly. And over the years of my ministry, I've catechized, I've instructed and prepared people for baptism. Maybe 20, 30, 40, a really great year would be 40 people. I have over 200 people in catechism right now. And this is happening all across the country. People are moving towards God, moving towards faith.
So he's not wrong. This is a decent article that I'll try to, might as well read. We're 24 minutes into it. Well, yeah, I just wanted to read these passages and maybe read this. Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu funding offer, which was $150 million, $10 million more than the evaluated value of Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu funding offer, was frightened. Blumenthal and Anna Parampel. 9/12/25. Trump insider and longtime friend of Charlie Kirk tells the Gray Zone how the assassinated conservatives leader's turning point on Israel in Israeli spying operation was uncovered. Charlie Kirk rejected an offer earlier this year from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to arrange a massive new infusion of Zionist money into his Turning Point USA TP USA organization, America's largest conservative youth association, according to a longtime friend of the slain commentator. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, the source told the Gray Zone that the late pro-Trump influencer believed Netanyahu was trying to cow him into silence as he began to publicly question Israel's overwhelming influence in Washington and demanded more space to criticize it. In the weeks leading up to his September 10th assassination, Kirk had come to loathe the Israeli leader regarding him as a bully, the source said. Kirk was disgusted by what he witnessed inside the Trump administration, where Netanyahu sought to personally dictate the president's personal decisions and weaponize Israeli assets like billionaire donor Miriam Adelson to keep the White House firmly under its thumb, which is telling you this is nothing new under the sun. According to Kirk's friend, who also enjoyed access to President Donald Trump and his inner circle, Kirk strongly warned Trump last June against bombing Iran on Israel's behalf. Yisrael, or is it Yisrael, however they pronounce it. Charlie was the only person who did that, they said, recalling how Trump barked at him in response and angrily shut down the conversation. Angrily shut down the conversation. The source believes the incident confirmed in Kirk's mind that the President of the United States had fallen under the control of a malign foreign power and was leading his own country into a series of disastrous conflicts. We are the new Germany, dealing with the same problem. By the following month, Kirk had become the target of a sustained private campaign of intimidation and free-floating fury by wealthy and powerful allies of Netanyahu. Figures he described in an interview as Jewish leaders and stakeholders. He was afraid of them, the source emphasized. At TPUSA, the rift with Israel widens. Kirk was 18 years old when he lost TPUSA in 2012, 1 year before the Xbox 360 video game called Charlie Murder. From its inception, his career was propelled by his young organization with money. Through neoconservative outfits like David Horowitz Freedom Center, he repaid his wealthy backers over the years by unleashing a relentless fire hose of anti-Palestinian and Islamophobic diatribes, accepting propaganda trips to Israel and sternly shutting down nationalist forces challenging his support for Israel during TPUSA events. In the Trump era, few American Gentiles had proved more valuable to the self-proclaimed Jewish state than Charlie Kirk. But as Israel's genocidal assault on the besieged Gaza Strip drove an unprecedented backlash within grassroots right-wing circles, where only 24% of younger in the famine imposed on the population of Gaza, yet he simultaneously ceded to his base assault on the besieged Gaza Strip. Brandon Jeffrey, the intelligence asset, and openly taunted Zionist billionaires like Bill Ackman for getting away with scams despite having no actual skills. Boom.
They're getting rewarded for it. The unfairness of it drives you crazy. And it's particularly galling in the case of Jeffrey Epstein and the whole constellation of people around Jeffrey Epstein, all of whom seem to be getting away with scams. And how do you know they're getting away with scams? I'll tell you how, because they're useless and they're rich. So how do you come to a place where some of the least impressive, most useless people who have no actual skills become billionaires? How's that legitimate? And by the way, if you ask this question, at least in Washington, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it sounds like you're a socialist. Sounds like socialism. Yeah, okay, I'm a socialist now. All right. I was a Qatari agent or a bigot. Now I'm a socialist. All right. Leaving aside my committed socialism, can you answer the question? How did Bill Ackman get $9 billion? Bill Ackman, a pretty impressive guy? I know Bill Ackman. No. Bill Ackman's like well-connected and super aggressive. That's it. And I think, you know, well-connected, super aggressive people deserve a fair living like everybody else. But if you're accruing $9 million just because you're willing to do anything, I don't know why we have to pretend that's good.
My bad, I didn't have that recorded. Following the confab, Kirk was infuriated or bombarded with infuriated text messages and phone calls from Netanyahu's wealthiest allies in the U.S., including many who had funded TPUSA. According to his longtime friend and Zionist donors, treated Kirk with outright contempt, essentially ordering him to fall back into line. He was being told what you're not allowed to do, and it was driving him crazy. Kirk's friend recalled the conservative youth leader was not only alienated by hostile nature of interactions, but frightened by the backlash. The friend's account dovetails with those of multiple right-wing commentators with access to Kirk. I think in the end, Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation. Candace Owens, conservative influencer who shifted decisively against Israel after October 7th, reflected after her friend's killing. I know it. He was going through a lot. There was a lot of pressure, and it's hard for me to watch the people who were pressuring him just say the things that they're saying. She continued, they wanted him to lose everything for changing or even slightly modifying an opinion. It's very hurtful to me. Kirk appeared visibly outraged during an August 6th interview with conservative host Megyn Kelly as he discussed the menacing messages he was receiving from pro-Israel bigwigs. It's all of a sudden, oh, Charlie, he's no longer with us. Wait a second, what does with us mean exactly? I'm an American, okay? I represent this country, he explained before addressing the powerful Zionist interests harassing him. The more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, it would be one thing if it were just one text or two texts. It is dozens of texts that we are starting to say, whoa, hold the boat here, Kirk continued. To be fair, some really good Jewish friends say, that's not all of us, but these are leaders here. These are stakeholders. So basically the secular Jewish government. Because remember, our government's not Christian. It's clearly secular. Even the way the Democratic left wouldn't do a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. So that tells you right there, the government's secular. They've turned their back on God, and if our government can, then you know theirs is a secular government too. They've turned their backs on God long ago. A friend said to me, interestingly, remember, God even declared a certificate of divorce. I can look that one up for you too. A friend said to me, interestingly, Charlie, okay, we've pushed back again on the media, on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border. Kirk told Shapiro on 9/9. Maybe we should also ask the question, is the media totally representing the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question. So right here, Kirk told Shapiro on 9/9. That's the day the Amazon book was released called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk, or that's the day it was published. And remember, he wasn't killed till the next day after this interview.
Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border. So maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
Booyaka! According to Kirk's longtime friend, Kirk's resentment of Netanyahu and the Israel lobby was spreading within Trump's inner circle. In fact, they said the president himself was terrified of Netanyahu's wrath and feared the consequences of defying him, because he knows who ordered the hit on him on J13. 425 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination. So by killing Charlie Kirk, it's a threat to Trump, who called Charlie Kirk his fourth son. Because Charlie Kirk started by carrying the bags of either Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. I'm not sure. I think it was Eric Trump because they're closer in age. But he just kind of worked his way up. And now Trump thought of him as a son. So Netanyahu just killed the son of a president. Adoptive son. And remember, Charlie Kirk's father, Walter Kirk, something Kirk, he built or designed, he was an architect that designed the Trump Tower. Not sure in which city or whatever, but there's that connection there. And he met his wife Erica Kirk through Donald Trump's pageant, Miss Arizona pageant, I guess. So, during the past year, Trump Insider was told by contacts in the White House that the Secret Service had caught Israeli government personnel placing electronic devices, bugs, on its emergency response vehicles on 2 separate occasions. While the gray zone was unable to confirm the story with the Secret Service or White House, such an incident should not have been unprecedented. Indeed, according to a report in Politico, citing 3 former senior U.S. officials, a cell phone spying device was placed on by Israeli agents near the White House and other sensitive locations around Washington toward the end of the term in 2019. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson recounted a similar incident in his memoir.